Have you ever noticed subtle changes in your elderly loved one, something that feels off, but you can't quite put your finger on it? Maybe it's their mood, their habits, or the way they interact with you. At first, it seems like a normal part of aging, but what if these changes are actually warning signs you shouldn't ignore? The truth is, sometimes the signs aren't as obvious as we think, and they can point to something much more serious, something that could change their life, and yours forever. In this video, we're going to uncover 7 unexpected signs that could mean your loved one may be approaching their final chapter. These aren't the signs you've read about in medical books or heard from doctors. These are the subtle, yet powerful clues that can help you understand when it's time to act. But before we dive into those life-changing insights, if you're truly invested in ensuring your elderly loved ones are cared for and protected, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and turn on the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss the critical information we share in future videos. Plus, by subscribing, you're showing that you care about your loved one's health, about being prepared, and about being there when it matters the most. Let's get started. As our loved ones age, it's easy to overlook the small changes that happen day by day. A bit of forgetfulness here, a slight change in their routine there. It seems like a normal part of growing older. After all, isn't aging supposed to come with a few bumps along the way? But here's the thing. Those little changes can sometimes be a warning sign, and if we ignore them, we could miss the chance to provide the care our loved ones need. Aging isn't just about getting older, it's about how the body and mind change in ways that are often subtle, but deeply important. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you brushed off a minor symptom, telling yourself it's just part of getting older? Maybe they're tired more than usual, or seem a little more irritable than before. It's easy to dismiss these as normal signs of aging, right? But here's the truth. Those signs might be part of something bigger, something that needs immediate attention. Sometimes the smallest, most unexpected changes can be a signal that something is wrong, something that could be life-altering. Awareness is everything when it comes to taking care of an elderly loved one. The earlier you spot these changes, the better equipped you'll be to respond and make sure they get the help they need. Think about how many times you've heard someone say, "I wish I had noticed that sooner," or "I didn't know that was a sign of something serious." We don't want to be left with regret, wishing we could have done more. Instead, we want to be proactive, paying close attention to those signs, no matter how small they seem. Being aware of these signs isn't just about spotting potential problems, it's about understanding how those signs relate to their overall well-being. Recognizing them early allows you to make informed decisions, seek the right medical help, and take steps to improve their quality of life. And even if the signs don't lead to something as serious as we fear, acting early can make a huge difference in their comfort, happiness, and health. Imagine the peace of mind you'll have knowing you've done everything you could to care for your loved one. Being informed and attentive means being ready for anything life throws at you. And let's face it, nobody ever regrets acting with care and foresight. By the time you're done watching this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, so you'll never have to wonder, "What if I had known?" Instead, you'll be equipped to make the best decisions for them and for you. Sign number 1, drastic change in personality or mood. Let's start with one of the most noticeable and often concerning signs, a drastic change in personality or mood. We all know our elderly loved ones so well, so when something shifts in their behavior, it can be jarring. You may notice that they're becoming unusually withdrawn, irritable, or even depressed. These mood swings might seem subtle at first, but they're worth paying attention to, especially if they're happening frequently or more intensely than usual. Now, you might think, well, they're just getting older. It's normal to be a little grumpy or tired from time to time. And sure, mood changes are a natural part of life, but when it's extreme or persistent, it could be a sign of something much deeper. Health conditions like depression, anxiety, or cognitive decline, like dementia or Alzheimer's disease, can cause these sudden shifts in personality. And these conditions don't always announce themselves with clear symptoms. They often start with mood changes that are hard to explain. For example, has your loved one stopped being social? Do they seem uninterested in things that used to bring them joy? Or maybe they've become short-tempered or anxious without any obvious reason. This is especially important to look out for, because emotional well-being can be just as important as physical health. Addressing mental health early can prevent it from worsening, and it can improve their overall quality of life. It's important to approach this change with compassion, of course, but also with urgency. If you notice these mood swings becoming more frequent or severe, don't hesitate to seek professional help. A doctor or mental health professional can help you understand the underlying cause and recommend solutions that could drastically improve their well-being. But what about when the mind and emotions aren't the only things showing signs of distress? Sometimes the body gives us signals that we can't ignore either. Sleep disturbances, for instance, are one of the clearest signs of something being out of balance. And believe it or not, the way your loved one sleeps or struggles to sleep can reveal a lot about their overall health. So let's dive into the next sign that could be a red flag: difficulty sleeping or sleeping excessively. And trust me, this one is a big deal, so stay with me as we break it down. Sign number 2, difficulty sleeping or sleeping excessively. Let's talk about sleep, something we all need to feel our best. But did you know that trouble sleeping, whether too much or too little, could be a red flag for serious health concerns? If your elderly loved one is suddenly struggling to fall asleep, or, on the other hand, sleeping excessively and still feeling tired, it's worth taking a closer look. Insomnia, for example, can point to underlying issues like anxiety or depression, which are not uncommon among older adults. And when someone is sleeping too much, it could be a sign of sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep, or it could even indicate cognitive decline. What's important to note is that sleep disruptions often reflect deeper physical or mental health problems. A lack of sleep can lead to irritability, difficulty concentrating, and even worsen existing conditions like depression. Conversely, excessive sleep can lead to fatigue, confusion, and a general lack of energy, all of which could impact daily activities and overall well-being. If your loved one's sleep patterns are changing, don't brush it off as just old age. Taking action and seeking help from a healthcare provider could uncover the cause and lead to treatment that significantly improves their quality of life. Now, sleep is just one piece of the puzzle, but there's something else that often goes hand in hand with it. If restlessness or excessive sleep becomes the norm, it could signal something deeper about how they are experiencing life itself. It's like the first ripple in a pond, and it's not always about what's happening in the body. Sometimes it's about how they feel inside. So let's dive into the next subtle clue that can be just as revealing, something you may have noticed, but might not have connected the dots just yet. Sign number 3, loss of interest in favorite activities. Now, let's talk about something that may seem more subtle at first, but can reveal a lot about someone's well-being: the loss of interest in things they used to love. Have you noticed that your elderly loved one is no longer as excited about their hobbies or favorite pastimes? Maybe they've stopped reading, gardening, or even watching their favorite shows. Activities that once brought them joy seem to have lost their appeal. At first, it's easy to brush it off. Perhaps it's just a phase, or maybe they're simply tired. But when this shift in interest continues over time, it can signal that something much more significant is going on beneath the surface. A lack of interest in hobbies or social activities can point to mental health issues, such as depression or even early stages of dementia. And these are conditions that can often go unnoticed, especially if the person is still physically healthy. When someone stops engaging in the things they once loved, it can also reflect a sense of hopelessness or a loss of identity. For elderly people, hobbies and social interactions can play a huge role in maintaining a sense of purpose and joy. So when they begin to withdraw, it's not just about the activity, it's about their overall mental and emotional state. If you're noticing this pattern, it's important to ask the right questions. Are they feeling overwhelmed? Are they experiencing any anxiety or sadness? Sometimes, the lack of interest isn't a sign of laziness, but a cry for help. And addressing it early can help your loved one reconnect with life and find joy again. Now, we've talked a lot about emotional energy and the toll it can take on someone's spirit. But what about their physical energy? When someone starts losing the will to engage, it's often a reflection of a deeper shift happening in their body as well. And when that change occurs, it's not just about how they feel, it can affect their entire life. So let's dive into the next sign that often appears alongside this change: a shift in their physical condition, something that can't be ignored and might leave you wondering if there's more to it than meets the eye. Sign number 4, sudden weight loss or gain. Let's move on to something that can be a little more noticeable physically: sudden changes in weight. If you've noticed your elderly loved one losing weight without explanation or gaining weight rapidly, this could be a sign of something much more serious going on in their body. It's easy to think that weight changes are simply a natural part of aging, but drastic weight loss or gain can point to a variety of underlying health issues. Sudden weight loss might indicate a condition like malnutrition, thyroid problems, or even cancer. It can also be a sign of depression, where your loved one may be losing their appetite or simply unable to care for themselves properly. On the flip side, unexplained weight gain can point to issues like heart disease, diabetes, or even the use of certain medications. In both cases, these changes are not something to brush off as just part of getting older. These could be clear warning signs that something is going wrong inside their body. It's also important to pay attention to the rate of change. If the weight change happens quickly, it's particularly concerning and should be looked into right away. When you see this happening, don't wait for it to resolve itself. Reach out to a healthcare professional to rule out any serious conditions. Now, while changes in weight are often physical signs, they can also be a reflection of deeper emotional or mental health struggles. And when it comes to emotional health, one thing that often changes right along with it is a person's ability to connect with others. So let's explore the next sign that could reveal what's really going on beneath the surface, a noticeable shift in how your loved one engages with others, and why this matters more than you think. Sign number 5, withdrawal from social interactions. Let's talk about a sign that's more about emotional health than physical health, withdrawal from social interactions. When your elderly loved one begins to isolate themselves from family, friends, or activities they once enjoyed, it can be a sign of something deeper. This could be a symptom of depression, loneliness, or even early signs of cognitive decline. It's natural for everyone to need their alone time, but if this behavior becomes more frequent, or they stop reaching out altogether, it may be a warning sign that their emotional well-being is at risk. Social isolation is a serious issue, especially as we age. It can lead to worsened depression, increased risk of mental decline, and even physical health issues as their sense of connection to the world diminishes. If you notice that your loved one is pulling away, it's important to address it sooner rather than later. A lack of engagement with the people around them can have a profound effect on their mental and physical health. Social withdrawal doesn't just impact the mind, it can take a toll on the body too. When someone starts to withdraw, their physical well-being often starts to show signs of strain. One of the most alarming signs can be difficulty breathing or shortness of breath. This is something that often gets overlooked, but it could be a clear indicator that something is very wrong. So let's dive into the next sign, shortness of breath and the struggles they may be facing when trying to catch their breath, even in simple situations. Sign number 6, difficulty breathing or shortness of breath. Let's talk about something that can be a little alarming when it happens, difficulty breathing. Have you noticed your elderly loved one becoming short of breath after simple activities, like walking to the kitchen or even just standing up? Or maybe they seem to be struggling to breathe while resting. This isn't just something to brush off. It's a sign that something could be going on with their health. Breathing problems like this can be linked to a number of conditions. It could be something like asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, or even heart disease. When they're struggling to catch their breath, it could also signal more serious issues like a heart attack or even a stroke. If these symptoms happen suddenly or get worse over time, they definitely need attention. Sometimes we may think that being out of breath is just a normal part of getting older, but it's important not to assume that's the case. It's not just about getting winded after climbing a set of stairs. If your loved one is constantly feeling breathless, even after walking around the house or during normal daily activities, that's a red flag. These issues can sometimes be linked to chronic illnesses that get worse over time if left untreated. The good news is that there's often something that can be done, especially if the issue is caught early. A doctor can help determine the cause and suggest ways to manage or even treat the condition, so your loved one can breathe easier and feel better overall. So, if you notice them struggling to breathe more than usual, it's important to act sooner rather than later. Don't wait for it to get worse. Consult a healthcare provider to get to the root of the problem and start making a plan for better health. Breathing issues often aren't just isolated problems. When the body begins to struggle in one area, it's usually a sign that something else is being affected, too. And this next sign is something that's easy to overlook but can reveal a lot more than you might think. Let's explore what happens when personal care starts to slip and what it could really mean for your loved one's health. Sign number 7, decline in personal hygiene or grooming. Let's now look at something that might not seem so obvious at first, but can tell you a lot about what's going on, a decline in personal hygiene or grooming. If your elderly loved one, who once took care in their appearance, suddenly starts neglecting basic tasks like showering, brushing their teeth, or changing clothes regularly, it's a sign that something could be wrong. This kind of neglect often isn't just about being too lazy or uninterested. It can be a sign of depression, cognitive decline, or even physical limitations that make it harder for them to take care of themselves. For example, someone with dementia or Alzheimer's may forget to do these tasks, while physical conditions like arthritis or weakness might make it difficult for them to manage personal care. What's concerning is that these small changes can escalate over time. Hygiene and grooming are not just about cleanliness, they're a reflection of how someone feels about themselves and their ability to take care of their basic needs. When these habits change, it can signal deeper emotional or health issues that need to be addressed. If you've noticed this change in your loved one, don't ignore it. It's a sign that they might need help with more than just their appearance. They may need extra support for their mental or physical health as well. When someone's personal care begins to slip, it's more than just about hygiene. It's a clear signal that they may be struggling in ways that go beyond what we can see. This is why it's so important to pay attention to signs, and when they add up, take action. Your loved one deserves the best care possible. Recognizing these signs early can make all the difference in your loved one's well-being. Whether it's changes in mood, sleep patterns, physical health, or personal care, these subtle shifts are often signals that something deeper is going on. By staying vigilant and addressing these signs head-on, you can ensure they receive the care and support they need before things get worse. If you've noticed any of these changes in your elderly loved one, don't wait for them to resolve on their own. Reach out to a healthcare professional and have a conversation about what might be happening. The sooner you take action, the better chance you have to make a positive impact on their health and quality of life. Have you noticed any of these signs in someone you care about? What steps did you take to help them? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an important update. Take care of your loved ones, and let's stay proactive together.